My wife slept with multiple men while we were still married, but I stayed silent. Until I rebuilt my life and left her crying in the ruins she made. After 17 years, my wife cheated and pushed for an open marriage. I divorced her, and now she wants me back. I'm a 47-year-old male who was married to Lisa, a 42-year-old female, for 17 years, though we lived as a couple for only about 7 years. A decade ago, I caught Lisa cheating on me. She confessed that she had fallen out of love and wanted an open marriage. We have 2 kids, the elder was a toddler, and the younger was still an infant when this happened. It was devastating for me. She said back-to-back pregnancies took a toll on her physical and mental well-being, so she wanted to freshen up. Unfortunately, her way of relaxing was to bring different men to bed. Divorce was complicated at that point with 2 little kids and my meager income. I decided to let her do what she wanted while I moved upstairs in our duplex house. We became co-parents of our children. It wasn't as hunky-dory as it sounds. We separated with a lot of bitterness and name-calling, mostly from me because she cheated. Eventually, we got caught up in work and life. I moved on and mellowed out. A few months back, I met Kathy, a 35-year-old female, at work. She's my junior, and we vibed instantly. Bonding with her was the most natural thing to happen to me in a while. It wasn't a romantic relationship at first. We hit it off as understanding coworkers and happened to spend time together beyond work, still as friends. It was only last month that we made out, and I felt something special about her. Since then, she has been crashing at my place quite often, which is concerning because, technically, Lisa is still my wife. We're still married. Lisa has gotten weird these days, weird as in she's hanging around me whenever Kathy and I are together. She commands authority like a wife. I had to remind her that we are separated, and I get to do what I want, just as she's been doing for years. It's hard to describe what she's been doing, but let me try. One day, Kathy and I were having dinner in my kitchen. Lisa showed up and asked, "Can I join you guys?" It became a super awkward moment for both of us. Kathy and I looked at each other with astonished faces. Lisa sat down with her plate without even waiting for an answer. We had dinner sitting like strangers, smiling uninterestedly at Lisa's stupid and forced conversation. Our dinner was ruined, but I gave her the benefit of the doubt, thinking she was just trying to fit in. Then there was another instance where she acted bossy, trying to impose her rights as a wife. Kathy and I were upstairs watching a movie. Lisa barged in and asked me to come with her. I asked what the matter was, and she said, "Your kids need you. The younger one has a science project to complete, and you need to help him." I was astonished because we had split the schoolwork for our kids. I assist the elder child, and she takes care of the younger one. I told her I had already done my part for our elder son, and this was her responsibility. She got furious and yelled, "Is this kid not yours? Instead of helping him, you're here lurking around like a dud." This led to a full-blown argument between Lisa and me. Kathy got awkward, excused herself, and left. After that incident, Kathy told me she wouldn't be hanging out at my place anymore, though we still meet at hers. The thing is, why should I compromise my life when I've never raised a finger on hers? She has been leading her life however she wanted, bringing any Tom, Dick, and Harry to the house, and I chose to look the other way. Now that I've found someone to bond with, Lisa is acting like a witch and deliberately trying to break it. I confronted her the other day, and she said she wasn't bothered about my closeness with Kathy. She refused to acknowledge that she had been acting strangely and said I was overthinking. I told her if she continued to interfere in my life, I would consider getting a divorce. Tears welled up in her eyes, and she said she didn't mean to disturb us. She was just anxious about our son's unfinished project and was busy with work, so she asked for help. I told her that wasn't a call for help, it was no less than gaslighting. She called Kathy and apologized, asking her to come over. Kathy accepted the apology but drew her boundaries, saying she preferred meeting me at her place. I'm in a fix now. I want to get rid of Lisa, but I'm afraid she'll ruin my budding relationship with Kathy. I'm thinking of getting a divorce now. The only reason I didn't go for a divorce back then was because I didn't want my children to choose between their mom and dad. Now I'm wondering if I should prioritize myself over everything else, even my children, or wait a few more years for them to grow up. I'm not sure if Kathy would wait for me until then. I'm still angry with Lisa for opening the marriage and at myself for agreeing and not pushing back enough. The joys of modern romance, where not-so-ex-wives crash romantic dinners and school projects become battlegrounds for marital disputes. Apparently, your wife thinks an open marriage means inviting a rotating cast of characters into the bedroom while you're trying to salvage what's left of your dignity upstairs. The eternal conundrum of why we don't cut ties sooner with those who bring chaos into our lives. It's like watching a slow-motion disaster unfold, isn't it? Sometimes it's the fear of the unknown or the comfort of familiarity that keeps us stuck in dysfunctional situations. Let's not forget the hefty price tag that comes with divorce attorneys. They're not exactly handing out free consultations, but hey, hindsight is 20/20. Edit 1. Sorry for all the mumbo jumbo and missing information, particularly around Lisa's cheating and our separation dynamics. People are saying it's difficult to give any advice without clarity, so here's everything. It's going to be long. You can skip this part if you aren't interested in knowing the history. This was like 10 years ago, so I might miss some details here and there. 4 months after the birth of our younger son, Lisa started acting up. She didn't let me come close. She said she wasn't ready for sex. Pregnancy and breastfeeding had made her averse to intimacy. I respected her decision, but she was also drifting apart emotionally. I suggested we seek couples therapy, but she shrugged it off, saying it was just her postpartum thing and that she would recover eventually. It was almost a year later when I lost patience and confronted her. I told her we needed to address the elephant in the room. She either goes to therapy with me or tells me the truth about what's wrong. She gaslighted the situation, saying I was being insensitive and spouting other nonsense, but I didn't let it slide this time and dug for the truth. I snooped on her phone but didn't find anything concrete. She had deleted most of the chats and emails. I don't remember exactly how I got the clue, but one day she said she was going out shopping with her friends. I followed her car and found her cheating. She was sleeping with a young college student. I knocked on his door. A shirtless guy answered while Lisa was on the couch in her lingerie, trying to cover herself. I held that guy by the neck and was almost about to punch him when Lisa intervened and pleaded with me to leave him alone. She cried that it wasn't his fault. He was just one of the guys she was hooking up with. It blew my mind. What the hell? One of the guys? She confessed to hooking up with a couple of guys. The guy standing in front of me had no idea what was happening or that she was married with kids. We came back home, and I did all the things any man in my situation would do. No, not hitting her. I'm a man of no violence. I called up her parents and revealed the truth in front of everyone. I insisted on a divorce. I even hired a lawyer and discussed the case. As the situation progressed and the lawyer explained the reality, it shook me. There was no real gain for me except loss. With the children being so young, they would need their mother. At most, I could get joint custody, which would again be at Lisa's mercy. She could dictate the terms for me to meet them. Of course, I could knock on the courtroom's door if she didn't comply with the court order, but how many times would a normal man want to get into this law and order thing? We live in a no-fault state, so there was no moral policing for her. I still had to pay alimony, and child support was unavoidable. Basically, I would take care of all the responsibilities as a dad but be left at Lisa's mercy to spend time with my children. Lisa, on the other hand, was also against the divorce. She suggested that instead of divorce, we open our marriage and come back to each other whenever we wanted. I knew I never wanted her back, but divorce was unaffordable at the time. The only viable option was to separate and live as housemates and co-parents. So we did that. Though she chooses to call it an open marriage or whatever crap she wants, I consider it to be a dead plant. We are separated. In the last 10 years, Lisa has had many partners, though she claims nothing serious with any of them. I believe she had at least 3 partners who were more than just physical. They came home, she went hiking and on vacations with them. It was not easy for me to see her getting intimate with other men, first her cheating and then her multiple partners. They were in our bedroom. We have a duplex house, and I took the guest bedroom upstairs. The stairs leading to it have a passage through the back door. We bought the house from an Asian couple who constructed it for their grown-up son to live upstairs with privacy, but the son moved out, and the couple sold the house to us because it was too big for them. The main entrance of the house opens into a living room with a huge closed kitchen and dining space, a master bedroom, and a storeroom, which we made into our children's room. Upstairs, there's a guest room the same size as the master bedroom. The remaining space is a huge library-type area for reading and hosting parties. That space leads to the top of the house, where there's a small terrace. Since I moved upstairs, I've been able to see most of what's happening downstairs. Sometimes I wished I could shut my eyes, but for my children's sake, I remained vigilant. At the start, I also jumped into a dating spree, but after a couple of months, it felt hollow and meaningless, so I stopped. Instead, I focused on more meaningful activities. I joined a badminton club and worked on my athletic body. I had been a sports enthusiast in college, so I went back to pursuing field games on weekends. I also joined a hiking club that organizes solo hikes every 2 months. You can't take your friends, spouse, or anyone you know. You go alone, and there's a bunch of other people who are also alone, so you hike with strangers. It was a lot of fun. I did that continuously for 2 years, and now I do it only twice a year. I've had hookups here and there in the last 10 years, but no emotional affairs and no long-term partners. I didn't feel that connection with anyone. But with Kathy, things are different. I feel happy around her. She's the woman I feel I can give love another chance with. But the devil of my life, Lisa, has come hunting me down. The current situation remains the same. Kathy refuses to come to my place, and I'm worried that she'll grow distant from me. I don't want to lose her. The situation is practically choosing between Kathy and my children, and I'm struggling to make a choice. The saga continues, doesn't it? Thanks for filling in the details. It sounds like you've been through quite the roller coaster ride with Lisa, and navigating the aftermath of her choices hasn't been a walk in the park either. It's understandable why divorce seemed daunting, given the complexities, especially with young children in the picture. Your decision to separate and co-parent was probably the most practical one at the time, despite Lisa's attempts to redefine it as an open marriage. It seems like you've been doing your best to move forward, focusing on your own well-being and interests. Ultimately, it's important to prioritize your own happiness and well-being, but of course, that's easier said than done when kids are involved. No one wants to be miserable for the rest of their lives. You deserve to find happiness and fulfillment in your relationships, whatever form that may take. I think at this point, too, your children are aware of what their mother is doing. It must be as awkward and painful to watch for them as it is for you. Hello, all. Thanks for all the suggestions and comments. I appreciate all of it, both good and bad. I sought therapy, which helped a lot in understanding my focal point and what I wanted at this stage in my life. As you all said, the children are entering their late teens, so it's just a matter of a few years before they walk out to lead their individual lives. It doesn't make sense to miss my chance of being happy with Kathy. I had a transparent discussion with Kathy. I told her about my feelings and that I wanted to be with her if she felt likewise. I could work this out. She said she felt the same but was reluctant because of my family dynamics. She just didn't feel comfortable being around my legal wife, but she was fine with the children being around. I told her I could work it out. I was going to move out, and the children could decide where they wanted to stay. They're mature enough to make that decision and could shuffle between their mom's and dad's homes. Kathy was in favor of this. My therapist suggested children's counseling, where they could be made aware of our marital status in an age-appropriate manner. I told Lisa about the counseling, and she flipped out. She said I was being selfish and insane for dragging our children into this mess, that I was messing up their lives by getting serious with Kathy, and that I should prioritize my family over my selfish desires. I lost my temper. Really, Lisa? Are you the one giving these preachings on family and moral BS? What happened to your ethics when you were getting intimate with different men while our children were still breastfeeding and rolling in their cribs? I asked her to back off and took the kids to the counselor. It was helpful. The children received it well and appreciated that we had stuck together for their sake. They also agreed that I had the right to be happy for the rest of my life. I told Lisa I would be filing for divorce. She acted shocked and started sobbing, saying, "I thought we decided never to get divorced and to be with each other throughout. Now that you found this woman, you're leaving your family to be with her." I have also met so many men who wanted to marry me, but I never traded off my married life for them. I told her to stop trying to guilt trip me. This wasn't helping. I told her to cut the crap and sign the papers. I'd be paying for the children's education until college, and she could keep the house and car as alimony. I'd be moving out. I told her I was choosing my happiness over money because now I could afford it. Back then, I couldn't. She cried and tried all means to talk me out of the divorce. She said I could move out and live with Kathy while staying married to her. I said I loved Kathy and didn't want her to be called my mistress. I know no one would actually call her that, but Lisa would. She'd go to any length to humiliate others. The papers should arrive any day now. I'm moving in with Kathy next month. I'm waiting for my children's annual exams to finish, then I'll take them on a trip and move out. I will be relieved once all this is settled. Lisa used the opportunity to pull off her evil plan. She sobbed her way to Kathy and asked her to back off, saying that Kathy was tearing apart her family and that her children would suffer because of her. Lisa tried to guilt trip Kathy, but when Kathy didn't budge, Lisa said I wasn't serious about her and that Kathy was just a fling for me. Lisa is shrewd and cruel. She knew very well how to play her cards. She knew I was in a low network zone with the kids, so Kathy wouldn't contact me, and she didn't. Had Kathy been any other woman, she would have gone crazy hearing Lisa call her a fling, but Kathy remained composed and waited for my return. She had the hotel number where I was staying but didn't disturb me. That's what I love about her. She's a secure woman, even with my complex situation. When I returned home and learned about Lisa's malicious move, I stormed to her door and gave her the yelling of her life. I should have done this earlier to get the crap out of her head. Her entitled behavior has crossed all limits, and no one is going to tolerate it anymore. I've moved out of the house. My children have also decided to stay with me, but we don't have a spare room for them yet, so I'm looking for a bigger house to accommodate them. Until then, they're at their mom's. Lisa threw all kinds of tantrums when I was moving out, from guilt-tripping to yelling, from gaslighting to sobbing and pleading, asking for another chance for our relationship. I told her our relationship was over 10 years ago. We were just housemates and co-parents. The reality is I've moved on from loving her. She's nothing to me. I love Kathy and want to spend the rest of my life with her. When the divorce papers reached Lisa, she tore them up. My lawyer had to send her a notice threatening to sue her for damaging a legal document. Only then did she mellow down and agree to sign it. The divorce proceedings are ongoing. I haven't checked on my soon-to-be ex since then. I went to pick up my children twice but didn't enter the house. They'll visit their mom every 2 weeks or whenever they want. The last month has been hectic, renting a house and moving stuff. We didn't tell Lisa about the children moving in with me until I rented a new house. The children and I all knew she would cause chaos, so we avoided telling her for as long as possible. The kids even said they'd keep their bags packed and sneak out with me when Lisa wasn't around, but I decided to go the legal way. I didn't want to get into more trouble with that woman. As per our divorce clause, we have to give each other 3 days notice if we want to take the children for more than 2 days. So I went home and told her the children wanted to move in with me, and I'd be picking them up in 3 days. As expected, she freaked out. Good for her that she didn't go violent, breaking things and all. It would have played better for us, but no, she chose the emotional route. She hugged the kids, cried, apologized for everything, and asked them not to abandon her. She did her best to manipulate them emotionally into staying with her, and she even succeeded with the younger one. He said he wanted to stay with Mama. Kathy had warned me that situations like this could arise and that I should be prepared for a last-minute back out. When my son called, I said, "Cool, Dad loves you no matter what." But the elder son stuck to his decision to move out. I said, "Sure, I'll pick you up." I don't know what happened in the meantime, but when I went to pick them up, both boys were ready with their stuff. I hugged them both and took them home. I didn't ask what happened. It's already so traumatic for them, I don't want to push them further. Kathy and I are trying to make them comfortable in our house. We're involving them in setting up their room, letting them design everything to their taste. When the children were leaving the house, I was expecting Lisa to make a last attempt, but she had given up by then. She just sat there crying and sobbing. She hugged the boys tightly, told them how sorry she was about her behavior, and said she loved them and that they were free to come back to Mama's whenever they wanted. She asked me if I had a minute for a coffee. Her request sounded naive and genuine, so I agreed. Her tone was remorseful, and she apologized. This time, it didn't sound fake. She said, "I was delusional all this while, thinking you would never leave me. When Kathy came into your life, I didn't consider her a threat. I thought she was just one of those flings that would fizzle out in a month. I guess I took you for granted because of the security you provided to me and the children despite everything I did to you. I didn't realize I was mean and narcissistic, and by the time I did, it was too late." I just smiled and suppressed my emotions from flowing out. I stood up to leave. She came forward to hug me, and I hugged her back. That was our first hug in 10 years. I can't explain how I felt about it, nor can I express how I feel now after that last talk with her. I'm neither happy nor sad, just numb. That's what it is. After years of manipulation, emotional turmoil, and attempts to undermine your happiness, her apologies ring hollow in the face of the damage she's caused. It's understandable that you feel numb and conflicted after your last interaction with her. But remember, you've taken the necessary steps to move forward and create a brighter future for yourself and your children.